It's AumSum time! What if we lived on the sun?
Sure, I have already bought a flat there.
Huh? Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on the sun, there is no night on the sun. Sleeping with so much light will be very difficult. Secondly, if we lived on the sun is extremely hot. It will be impossible to get out of the heat protection suits. Thirdly, if we lived on the sun, nuclear energy is abundantly available on the sun. No more electricity bills. Fourthly, if we lived on the sun is huge as compared to planet Earth. There will be plenty of space available for everyone. Fifthly, if we lived on the sun, there is no water on the sun. We may have to make frequent water collection trips to planet Earth. Lastly, if we lived on the sun, people who love playing in the snow will be extremely sad. What if we lived on Mercury?
Huh? Cool, but wait. Will I get pasta on Mercury?
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on Mercury, it is the smallest planet in our solar system. We may have to live in extremely tiny homes. Secondly, if we lived on Mercury, it is the most cratered planet in our solar system. We may have to live inside one. Thirdly, if we lived on Mercury, it is the second hottest planet in our solar system. We may start sweating buckets. Fourthly, if we lived on Mercury, 1 year on Mercury is only 88 days long. Some people may even celebrate their 400th birthday. Fifthly, if we lived on Mercury, Mercury has no moon. We may need to purchase a ton of artificial lights. Lastly, if we lived on Mercury, sun appears almost 3 times bigger on Mercury. Sale of sunscreen lotions might skyrocket. What if we lived on Venus?
Cool, but wait. Will I get cookies on Venus?
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on Venus, Venus is the hottest planet. Ice creams may not last even for a fraction of a second. Secondly, if we lived on Venus, clouds on Venus smell like rotten eggs. Some people may start using air fresheners all day long. Thirdly, if we lived on Venus, 1 day on Venus is more than 5,000 hours long. Some people may immediately leave for a different planet. Fourthly, if we lived on Venus, Venus has most number of volcanoes. We may have to rebuild our homes quite often. Fifthly, if we lived on Venus, Venus has extreme air pressure. We may have to permanently live inside air pressure controlled domes. Lastly, if we lived on Venus, there is no water on Venus. Hot shower in the morning will be missed the most. What if we lived on the moon?
Oh no! I just bought a house!
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, moon is roughly 1/4 the size of Earth. If we lived on the moon, we may have to live in extremely crowded spaces. Secondly, if we lived on the moon, there's almost no water on the moon. People may start taking quick shower trips to Earth. Thirdly, if we lived on the moon, there's no oxygen on the moon. Fashionistas will have no option but to wear astronaut costumes. Fourthly, surface of the moon is filled with craters. If we lived on the moon, we may have to live inside one. Fifthly, gravity on the moon is much weaker. If we lived on the moon, kids will love jumping around. Lastly, if we lived on the moon, lunar days are much longer. People may start dozing off. What if we lived on Mars?
Then I will keep on jumping all day long.
What? Oh, AumSum. Due to extremely low atmospheric pressure on Mars, we will need to live inside buildings with pressure vessels and walk around with pressure suits. No need to lose our weight anymore. Gravity on Mars is 38% lower than that on Earth. Mars is extremely cold as compared to Earth, so get used to seeing ice everywhere. With extreme water scarcity on Mars, say bye-bye to those long leisurely baths. Get used to those huge dust storms you see in movies. They will be a living reality in Mars. Sunscreen makers will be one happy lot as the extremely thin atmosphere on Mars does not absorb much ultraviolet sunlight. With no more rain and virtually no clouds on Mars, it's time to forget about those beautiful rainbows and sunsets. What if we lived on asteroids?
Cool. I will look dashing on an asteroid.
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on asteroids, some asteroids are very small in size. A big family may not be able to fit in. Secondly, if we lived on asteroids, asteroids keep on colliding with planets. Our homes may not last for long. Thirdly, if we lived on asteroids, sometimes asteroids collide with each other. We may suddenly end up having new neighbors. Fourthly, some asteroids contain valuable minerals like gold. If we lived on asteroids, some people may build their entire house in gold. Fifthly, if we lived on asteroids, a smaller asteroid might get pulled by the gravity of a larger asteroid and may eventually become its moon. Lastly, if we lived on asteroids, most asteroids are irregularly shaped. People may start building irregularly shaped houses on them. What if we lived on Jupiter?
Cool. But wait. Will I get ice cream on Jupiter?
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on Jupiter, it is mainly made up of gas. We may have to float around. Secondly, Jupiter has a gigantic storm twice the size of Earth. If we lived on Jupiter, it would be best to avoid that spot. Thirdly, asteroids are known to hit Jupiter frequently. If we lived on Jupiter, living in an asteroid-safe house will be necessary. Fourthly, if we lived on Jupiter, days on Jupiter are only 10 hours long. Getting any work done in a single day would be very difficult. Fifthly, if we lived on Jupiter, Jupiter is said to have no oxygen. We will have to wear oxygen masks all the time. Lastly, if we lived on Jupiter, Jupiter has more than 75 moons. Astronomers will be extremely happy. What if we lived on Saturn?
Cool. Even I have a ring like Saturn.
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on Saturn, the rings of Saturn make it look spectacular. Some people may click selfies all day long. Secondly, if we lived on Saturn, Saturn is huge in size. Everyone might live in a mansion. Thirdly, if we lived on Saturn, there's almost no water on Saturn. Quick shower trips to Earth will be a necessity. Fourthly, if we lived on Saturn, Saturn does not have a solid surface. We may have to live floating around. Fifthly, if we lived on Saturn, a day on Saturn is less than 11 hours long. We may not be able to do much at work. Lastly, if we lived on Saturn, Saturn has 82 moons. No need to turn on lights at night anymore. What if we lived on Uranus?
Cool. But wait, will I get chocolate on Uranus?
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on Uranus, Uranus is 4 times wider than Earth. Our homes will suddenly become super spacious. Secondly, if we lived on Uranus, Uranus is an ice giant. Refrigerators will not be needed anymore. Thirdly, if we lived on Uranus, Uranus has 27 moons. Artificial lights at night will not be needed anymore. Fourthly, if we lived on Uranus, 1 year on Uranus is 84 Earth years long. We may celebrate our first birthday when we get extremely old. Fifthly, if we lived on Uranus, there is no atmospheric oxygen available for breathing on Uranus. Red carpet walks will not be that interesting anymore. Lastly, if we lived on Uranus, Uranus is blue-green in color. Some fashion enthusiasts may color their skin to blend with the surroundings. What if we lived on Neptune?
Cool, but wait, will I get burgers on Neptune?
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on Neptune, Neptune is considered to be the windiest planet. Wooden homes may get blown away easily. Secondly, if we lived on Neptune, 1 year on Neptune is 165 Earth years long. We may never be able to celebrate our birthday. Thirdly, if we lived on Neptune, Neptune is the farthest planet from the sun. Nice sunny mornings will be a thing of the past. Fourthly, if we lived on Neptune, Neptune has 14 moons. Artificial lights at night will not be needed anymore. Fifthly, if we lived on Neptune, Neptune is 4 times wider than Earth. Our homes will suddenly become super spacious. Lastly, if we lived on Neptune, Neptune is an ice giant. Refrigerators will not be needed anymore. What if we lived on Pluto?
Cool, but wait, will I get pizza on Pluto?
Oh, AumSum. Firstly, if we lived on Pluto, Pluto is smaller than our moon. We may have to live in extremely crowded spaces. Secondly, if we lived on Pluto, a day on Pluto is 153 hours long. We may have no energy left at the end of the day. Thirdly, if we lived on Pluto, Pluto is extremely cold. We may need to wear a lot of jackets. Fourthly, if we lived on Pluto, Pluto is considered a dwarf planet. Aliens may start laughing at us. Fifthly, if we lived on Pluto, 1 year on Pluto is 248 Earth years long. We may never be able to celebrate our birthdays. Lastly, if we lived on Pluto, Pluto is extremely far away from the sun. Nice sunny mornings will be a thing of the past.